Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at some very cool battles in the Open Ultra League featuring a legend run using an unexpected Pokemon, Rayquaza. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, XDR142, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now XDR is frequently on the global leaderboards and wanted a challenge, so they went to their alternative account, used the Pokemon they had there, one of which was Rayquaza, and they were able to make it to the legend rank on this account in under 500 battles. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's check out Rayquaza making it to Legend in the Open Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a positive lead, Rayquaza into Trevenant. Considering the two water types in the back, it is very nice to catch this Trevenant on the lead. Trevenant is at enough energy for the Shadow Ball, so Rayquaza will immediately commit a shield. Opponent is going to be safe switching into their Swampert. Rayquaza going to stay in, farm up a ton of energy, and go for the Breaking Swipe just before that move is reached. Now in comes Greninja. Greninja not quite able to make it to the Hydro Cannon before Swampert will make it to the Earthquake. Earthquake connects, that does quite a lot of damage. Greninja is going to farm up and fire off the Hydro Cannon. This will be lethal. Swampert is going to commit the shield, and it's a CMP tie. Greninja, however, is going to shield back. Really liking that alignment of having the Trevenant on the Rayquaza and wanting it to stay that way. Greninja now with the back-to-back moves, which guarantees that it will be able to keep switch advantage. Opponent realizes that, and they're just going to let the Swampert go. If they send in the Trevenant, Trevenant is going to have to take super effective damage from the Night Slash, so the opponent sends in their final Pokemon, which is Walrein, and this is a massive problem. This team is triple weak to Walrein, so seeing a Walrein, especially a Walrein up a shield, this is going to be very difficult. Walrein takes two Night Slashes. Walrein does not want to take a third, so they are going to go for the Icicle Spear. In comes Swampert. You absolutely cannot have Rayquaza going up against these double super effective Icicle Spears. Walrein is going to be firing off the Icicle Spear into the Swampert. Swampert continues to farm. We see a switch into the Trevenant, and back in comes Rayquaza. Rayquaza going for the Breaking Swipe. Trevenant will commit the shield. Rayquaza continuing to farm, just cannot make it to the Breaking Swipe. Trevenant on low HP, but getting the KO with the Shadow Ball. Back in comes the Swampert. Swampert farming up to 100 energy. This Hydro Cannon going for an undercharge onto the Trevenant. It will still KO. And in comes the Walrein, but Swampert makes it to the Earthquake. Walrein should be a core breaker for the team, but he's still able to get the win. Hopping into the next match, leading Rayquaza into Charizard. Rayquaza is going to get outpaced here, so we see a switch into the Swampert as the Charizard fires off this Dragon Claw. Very nicely done. Opponent staying in with the Charizard. Opponent goes for the catch as they bank a move on the Charizard and send in Golisopod. And this is an absolute nightmare for the Swampert. No matter what it throws, it's going to be resisted. Swampert farming up to the Hydro Cannon, but losing CMP to the Golisopod. Golisopod goes for the Liquidation. Liquidation barely not enough to KO, but does get the defense drop. The defense drop is going to ensure no Earthquake for the Swampert, so Swampert is forced to just go for another Hydro Cannon. Going for an undercharge here, wanting farm on Rayquaza. Rayquaza will be able to tank whatever Golisopod throws here and get a nice farm down. Liquidation connects. Opponent not gonna let that farm happen as they're going to aggressively switch in and send in the Charizard. Banking energy on Rayquaza. In comes Greninja. Opponent firing off their charge move on alignment, and we see an entire free Water Shuriken for the Greninja. Greninja farming up, going for the Night Slash just before the Charizard is able to make it to the Dragon Claw. Night Slash will be shielded by the opponent, and Rayquaza is going to be in a pretty good spot in the back if Greninja is going to be able to get both shields, which it does. Do you just save the shield for Rayquaza? No. Instead, going to be shielding up the Greninja, but Greninja cannot get the farm down. That is extremely unfortunate. Dragon Claw will get the KO. Rayquaza leaves with energy in the back. It's Shadow Gliscor. Oh boy, it's Dragon Ascent time. Dragon Ascent onto the Shadow Gliscor, gets the one-shot KO. Golisopod gets farmed down, and that's a good game. Picking up an interesting lead in the next match, Rayquaza into Defense Deoxys. Rayquaza is able to single resist the counters, but the issue is the massive difference in bulk. Rayquaza, even if this is just a Psycho Boost, is going to take massive damage, whereas the Deoxys can tank moves for days. Deoxys goes for the Psycho Boost. Deoxys actually staying in this matchup. In comes the Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz is going to be met with a Breaking Swipe. Nice catch from the opponent. Farming up, we see a switch into Greninja, trying to go for a catch of a potential Dark Pulse, or a foul play. Unfortunately, Mandibuzz does a good job holding onto their energy, and they do go for the correct move versus the Greninja, which is the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace number 2 will connect. Even for Aerial Ace being buffed, it's still not the most amazing move ever, so Greninja is able to withstand that damage, and Greninja is at back-to-back Hydros, throws the first, goes for the Water Shuriken as Mandibuzz fires off the Aerial Ace. Greninja massively over-farming here, and Greninja is going to play to the CMP tie versus the Mandibuzz. This Hydro Cannon will be lethal. Oh, the opponent commits the shield, not wanting to lose this energy. Greninja able to survive with a fraction of HP. Opponent goes for the snipe with the Deoxys, and they only end up catching a Hydro Cannon instead of getting the snipe. Back in comes Rayquaza. Deoxys has energy. They go for the Psycho Boost. Deoxys now debuffed, and they're switch locked in here. Rayquaza over farming and going for the Breaking Swipe. This will be lethal. Opponent is going to let the Deoxys go. We know they still have the low health Mandibuzz available, and we still have not seen their final Pokemon. The final Pokemon in the back is Skuntank. And with these debuffs, this is looking to be a very nice endgame. Breaking Swipe number 1, immediately followed by Breaking Swipe number 2. A lot of pressure being put onto the Skuntank. Skuntank commits the shield. Rayquaza farming up, and the catch onto the Swampert. Very nicely done. That is a double debuffed Crunch. That does absolutely nothing. Swampert does get its defense dropped. In comes the Mandibuzz, and Swampert farms up to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. Hydro Cannon number 1 will secure the KO onto the Mandibuzz, and leaving with Hydro Cannon number 2. This will be taking care of that Skuntank, and that will be game over. We see an interesting lead in the next match. Rayquaza into Galvantula. Galvantula throws as soon as it gets its charge move, giving Rayquaza an entire Dragon Tail for free. Discharge will be shielded. The safe switch into the Weezing is going to be answered with Swampert. Swampert able to withstand multiple brutal swings here. This Weezing is actually running an unexpected moveset. Not a lot of Weezings running Play Rough at the current moment. A lot are running Brutal Swing and Overheat, and Play Rough does make this matchup a bit tougher for Swampert, especially after that Earthquake is shielded. Swampert just gonna go for the Hydro Cannon here. That looked like it was a CMP tie. Hydro Cannon does not KO, but what this does is it makes the Weezing a lot more manageable for the Greninja, because now that Swampert has been KO'd, you cannot send in the Rayquaza and waste the Dragon Ascent, so you just send in Greninja. Greninja is going to overfarm and fire off this Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will easily secure the KO here, and the opponent is going to let that go. The issue is, there's still the Galvantula farming up with the Greninja and firing off the Night Slash. Is the opponent going to commit the final shield? Yes, they do. We see a switch into Tapu Fini. Oh boy, it's Dragon Ascent time. Rayquaza over-farming as much as it can, going for the Dragon Ascent onto the Tapu Fini, nearly getting the one-shot. That damage is absolutely unreal. Tapu Fini does have enough energy for a Moonblast here, but they only need the Surf. Surf gets the KO, but Greninja exits with energy, and Hydro Cannon will be massive overkill here, taking down the Galvantula and securing the win. Moving into the next match, leading Rayquaza into Shadow Charizard. Last time we saw a Charizard lead, we saw a catch after 3 Dragon Tails, and that's exactly what this battler is going to do. Having a consistent strategy for the common leads that you can see ends up making the game a lot simpler. Farming up a ton of energy, in comes Virizion, and this is very, very tough for Swampert. Swampert is completely walled here. Of course, so would Greninja. So the good news is able to bait out the Virizion, but the bad news is Swampert's energy doesn't really go a lot of places here. Continuing to farm up with the Swampert, opponent is going to fire off their charge move to deny an extra Hydro Cannon. They are running Leaf Blade, so Rayquaza should be very safe here. Rayquaza should only be taking single resisted damage from the Sacred Sword. We do see a shield from the Rayquaza, as Rayquaza is looking to keep itself decently healthy as it commits to this farm down. Sacred Sword is going to connect, even for a resisted move. That does quite a lot of damage. Rayquaza is extremely frail, and in the back, it's Sand Slash, and being down a shield, this is very, very tough. We see a no shield from the opponent, as that Breaking Swipe connects. In comes the Shadow Charizard. Charizard is not baiting that Blast Burn, absolutely cooking the poor Greninja. Greninja going for the Night Slash into the Charizard. Charizard commits the shield. Greninja already at Night Slash number 2. Water Shuriken, lightning fast energy generation. We're going to see the no shield by the Charizard as they're looking to get the farm down with the Sand Slash, and they do. If that move was reached and Sand Slash shielded, this game could have potentially ended courtesy of a Dragon Ascent, but unfortunately with a shield to hide behind, this will be a loss as the opponent shields up the Dragon Ascent and they make it to the second Ice Punch. This is absolutely massive overkill, taking care of Rayquaza, and that's game over. We see a familiar lead in the next match, Rayquaza into Defense Deoxys. Last time, he just decided to stay in here, shield up, and look for the Deoxys to switch out. The Deoxys is going to farm up to a potential Rock Slide. We will see the shield from the Rayquaza, and this time the Deoxys is actually running Rock Slide. That makes this quite uncomfortable, as the Deoxys, if it's running Thunderbolt, will often go for a Psycho Boost and switch, but it doesn't have Thunderbolt. Deoxys farming up and firing off another charge move, and we see the double shield from the Rayquaza. Rayquaza keeping itself extremely healthy. Rayquaza continuing to farm. This is just a Psycho Boost from the Deoxys, but Psycho Boost is still going to do massive damage to the Rayquaza. In comes an Obstagoon safe switch. Obstagoon will be met with a Breaking Swipe. Do they shield? They do not. Calling the bait, going for another Breaking Swipe, continuing to put pressure onto the opponent. Breaking Swipe will be shielded. Rayquaza is going to bank a move for later and send in the Swampert. Obstagoon has been double debuffed by Breaking Swipe, so that Night Slash does absolutely nothing, and this is a prime opportunity for Swampert to take moves that aren't going to do a lot of damage and to get a massive energy advantage. And that's exactly what we're going to see. Farming up, going for the Earthquake here just to ensure the KO onto the Obstagoon. Earthquake will get the KO, and Swampert does have a bit of residual energy. In the back, it's Scrafty. Opponent goes for a catch onto the Deoxys, and the Swampert gets the Mud Shot down, leaving with 100 energy. Back in comes the Scrafty, going for the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will connect. We see the combo play into Rayquaza, going for a Breaking Swipe because the opponent no longer has an ability to reset debuffs. Swampert has a lot of energy, and Greninja still hasn't seen the field yet. In comes Greninja, and all Greninja has to do is make it to a Hydro Cannon because both of these Pokemon win CMP over the Scrafty, and Scrafty does not have a way to get rid of this Greninja before it makes it to the Hydro. Greninja opting to go for the Night Slash here, but either way, I mean, this game's over. Opponent commits the shield. They're looking for the farm down, but Greninja ever spammy with the Water Shuriken. Night Slash gets the double resisted KO, and we see a boost as the game ends. We've got a battle of spice in the next match, Rayquaza versus Sirfetch'd. Definitely nice to catch the Sirfetch'd on the lead. Opponent is going to save switch into Shadow Snorlax, and I really like the decision to stay in here with the Rayquaza and go for the Breaking Swipe before switching out. This makes the energy from that Shadow Snorlax way less threatening onto the Swampert, and that way you can very easily maintain switch advantage. Body Slam will connect. That's not going to do a whole lot. Snorlax making it to Body Slam number 2, but again, this is perfectly fine. One thing that I really like about how this trainer is playing these battles is after they debuff the Pokemon, as we saw in the last battle in this one, they're using it as an opportunity to get a massive energy advantage. Because look at this. Due to the extra energy farm, Swampert is going to make back-to-back Hydro Cannons versus the Sirfetch'd, and that is incredibly threatening. Sirfetch'd already close to the red health, another Hydro Cannon coming through, they're forced to shield again, and so they are down a shield, and they've lost so much HP. In comes Rayquaza, looking for the one shield farm down play. Is the opponent going to be able to save the Sirfetch'd? No, and in the back, it's Zapdos, the spice from the opponent, but unfortunately on this day, they're getting outspiced. Look at the Breaking Swipe damage from Rayquaza. Oh my goodness. Zapdos will fire off the Drill Peck. One more Dragon Tail from the Rayquaza means game over. Hopping into the final match, needing a win to make it to Legend, and what an amazing lead, leading Rayquaza into Virizion. Opponent save switches into Tentacruel, and there's the perfect response available in Swampert. Everything going perfectly when it comes to alignment in this match. Scald will connect. Swampert looking to overfarm as close to 100 energy as possible without going over. And this Earthquake will connect onto the Tentacruel, and switch advantage is maintained. The opponent can use this as an opportunity to get a massive energy head start on the Virizion, but this Swampert still has quite a bit of HP, and Double Kick does not do a lot of damage. Swampert can only hit for resisted, but Hydro Cannon is still an incredibly good move. So these Hydro Cannons, even being resisted, are going to add up quite a bit over time. Making it to Hydro Cannon number 2, Virizion now below half health. Swampert able to make it to a last second Earthquake. This will not KO, but I would love to see an attempt at a snipe with Rayquaza. Earthquake connects, in comes Rayquaza, and the Dragon Tail goes through. Opponent has 100 energy on Virizion, and they lose it all. In the back, it's Shadow, Alolan Sandslash, and this should be Legend, as Rayquaza just gets to debuff the Sandslash again and again and again. First Breaking Swipe will be no shielded. We actually see the no shield from Rayquaza. The debuffed Ice Punch definitely going to get the KO onto Rayquaza. And Greninja is just in a fantastic spot to close out this game. Drill Run connects, and Greninja can just go for the triple Night Slash. Night Slash number 1 into the A Slash is going to be shielded, making it to Night Slash number 2, and now only one Water Shuriken away from Legend. Night Slash will be shielded. Greninja making it to Night Slash number 3. This will be taking care of the Alolan Sandslash, securing the 4-1 set, and getting the Legend rank. All in all, this is one of the more impressive accomplishments that I've seen. Hitting Legend in under 500 battles is a heck of an accomplishment, and on top of that, using an Ultra League Rayquaza, a Pokemon that I don't think I've ever battled against in all my battles in the Open Ultra League. So, big props to this trainer, and this does go to show something that I believe very strongly in, and that's that, granted, it's a game of blind 3, so there will always be a small element of luck, as in some days you see good leads, some days you see bad leads. In the long run though, luck will even out, and if you continue to focus on improving your gameplay, that's working on counting, working on charge move timing, win con identification, then in the long run, you'll start reaching more of those ELO goals that you're hoping for. And as we can see here, at the end of the day, skill wins out, because hitting Legend in under 500 battles with an Ultra League Rayquaza is a massive accomplishment. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.